and we are casting the Elite of Europe, courtesy of Champion Base, and we are casting through Chaos TV. Welcome aboard. I hope you enjoy your stay. How are you doing, Pulse? And are you as excited about this game as I am? Because I'm really looking forward to this.
I really am, and I'm just taking a look at TSM's team, and they have 3 legendary skins, and well, Pulse by Ezreal being in a different league of its own, and then again, you even it up with Janna having no skin, and Ryze having no skin. So, wow, that's kind of like a stark contrast.
What do you actually kind of class Pulsefire Ezreal as? Because I never really thought he was a legendary skin in the sense that he actually offers more than just a legendary skin. It's like a theme and everything on top of that, isn't it? And of course, it's double the price.
Yeah, well, it's classed in the shop as a theme, so I'm going to call it a theme. But, yeah, it's great it has my name in as well, so that's always good.
Well, what's also was good when you have a black screen and you can't see anything that's going on. But I'm assuming they haven't loaded in yet, is that right? Okay, so they have loaded in, but it's been paused apparently. Yeah, Extinct has reconnected, so there we go. We are going to be ready to go live soon, hopefully. Maybe a bug splat issue or something like that. There we go. On pause is coming, and I'm going to have a quick time check with you as soon as we go live, Pulse, because my game was really weird. Are you on 8 seconds?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Alrighty, all good. So, let's crack on into game number 2. If you just joined us, TSM are currently trailing by 1 game. They lost the first to Curse.Eu, and it was a fairly comfortable victory in the end. Baron was taken, and they pushed it home to victory. Last-ditch effort from Moscow 5 didn't pay off, and Curse.Eu did come out victorious. Can they rinse and repeat? Chaos. Did I just say Moscow 5? Nice. Last-ditch effort from Moscow 5 when we're watching TSM. That is really good casting, Vince. Congratulations. Of course I mean TSM. I apologise, ladies and
Round
gentlemen.
of applause, please.
Yes, please. See, I told you, when you derped over Clarissa, it kind of spread through the stream onto me.
Yep.
And now I just can't even think straight. Yeah, it's not
like
Moscow
a disease.
5. Moscow 5 Moscow 5 got knocked out in the previous round to Maus, so there you go, if you're wondering about that. Apparently Bass has something special lined up. In 3, 2, 1, he has a golf clap coming for me. There you go. That's just for me. Thank you. I feel special now. Well, it's a good job we didn't have any action, because it would have been awkward if I had to cast over the golf clap. We're not going to have any Team 1 fights kicking off. As we're going to have TSM, not Moscow 5, in their jungle around Blue and Wolves. Wolves have just respawned. And on the other team, we're going to have Curse.Eu taking down their Wolves. So, pretty much a symmetrical mirror image overall on the map. Oh, I do love a bit of corporate mundo.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. I just wanted to read a comment out from chat, which was, "They're so British."
We are
which
British.
Is fantastic.
Isn't that crazy? We're both British. Insane. Either way, apparently I'm drunk. I'm actually not drunk. I'm just very, very tired, so I apologise if I'm burping all over the place. But either way, it's going to be Team SoloMid against Curse.Eu. An early Ignite use from Dyrus. Interesting. Maybe just trying to apply some pressure, maybe a misclick, not entirely sure. But Ignite is going to be down, of course. That will give him an increase in ability power, because he does have that point in the offensive mastery tree. Let's have a quick look. Any early ganks on the cards? Mundo is going away from Wraiths, and you are going to have Alistair doing just the same thing. Very much the farming fest that we all know and love about League of Legends kicking off right now, Pulse.
Yeah, and actually that might be very clever. And we're not seeing it quite yet, because Ignite goes down, that's plus 5 AD, plus 5 AP. And of course it makes it easier to CS, which a lot of APs really need, because obviously those auto attacks are rather weak. He is a manless champion, but it also helps him CS because he's going to be auto attacking quite a lot during the laning phase. So, yeah.
Ignite has gone back onto Dyrus now from Anguish. But again, no early First Bloods have gone down at top lane. Much more kind of orthodox lineup this time. It's going to be the 2 tag teams of bots kicking it off, Chaos and Xpecial on Ezreal and Janna, and they're going to be facing off against Slepper on Corki and Clarissa on Nunu. So interesting compositions here from both teams. Vladimir's flashing up red. Needs to be careful because Alistair is on double golems coming towards the tower now. He's going to be coming around the back side. There is a ward in Tribush, so as soon as Dyrus sees Alistair, he's going to get out of dodge very, very quickly. There you go. He's seen Alistair instantly turning back round, running back to the sanctuary of his own turret, and he will be recalling. There's no point hanging around with such low HP. He currently has 515 health, and gold I should say, not health, and he is going to be picking up the sight ward to make sure that Alistair is not going to feature anymore at top lane.
So, yep, Mundo actually going to go ahead and counter jungle, and of course we were saying this before, he's a lot like Shyvana in that sense. So, yeah, very interesting one to pick Mundo. I can't see it, but obviously it will become apparent at some point in the near future. So, we're just looking at bottom lane. Maybe he picked Mundo because they're expecting the enemy to take Shyvana, perhaps, I don't know. But it's a very interesting thing. He has double buff, hasn't really ganked yet. He does have the potential because he's got the cleaver, pretty nice slow, and when he catches up, he's going to pin them down, and the Burning Agony does a lot of damage early on. He needs to recall pretty early because there's a lot of HP costs, and he really does burn himself out in the jungle very quickly because he does use HP as a sort of mana pool.
Well, I mean, Mundo's kind of the super glue of League of Legends. If he lands one cleaver, and it's kind of a home stretch, it's very difficult to escape him. He's going to be coming head-to-head with Alistair right now. Maluno is going to pulverize and headbutt across the wall. In fact, doesn't even need to because the Dark Binding has got to back out. There we go, headbutt finally coming in. Ignite's ticking down. Renegade's so low, and Odd One will be getting dropped off Extinct finally for the first blood. And Morgana with a dream start here against TSM. Looking good for them. Alistair chiming in as well with the assist.
And Curse Extincts are saying something in a different language. Could be a taunt, I'm not sure. Well, we'll see what that is later. So, Ryze has just had his enemy mid fed, and that's not really what you want when it's Morgana, who is incredibly difficult to push out anyway. And Alistair looking for another gank at top, not going to happen though, because of that ward, and he's going to go ahead and recall. But Morgana is difficult enough to kill as it is. With a kill, it's just even worse. Going back with 850 gold, it's not a great position to be in, and actually Odd One and Reginald just a second too late. Wow, I don't think he was realising he was going to recall there, in fact.
Dyrus trying to troll Maluno a bit, but in turns actually being forced to pop his ghost. They could be going for the gank here at top lane. Here comes the Reginald and also Odd One. Mundo Foul was thrown, doesn't connect though. And that gank didn't end up being successful in the sense of picking up any kills, but it's going to allow Vladimir just to get some more farm and forcing Irelia to stick back at the tower. Reginald is still actually hanging around, finally going to start to pull back towards mid lane. But as he said, Morgana is scary to start with. Give her a kill or two, and she gets even scarier. Look there, Sorcerer's Shoes have been finished off, so that magic penetration coming in, and of course on top of that the movement speed. It's going to be difficult for Ryze to actually escape from her right now if she pops down the Soul Shackles, because she's level 6, and Ryze is level 5. Now just into level 6, so the Dark Binding does land, and Mundo is starting to push his way around towards mid, but I doubt anything's going to happen just yet.
So this is the kind of lane that Ryze really wants anyway, because he wants to be farming through that lane because he gets stronger. Actually, meanwhile, top Anger's going straight onto Dyrus. I don't know if he can pick up this kill here. He doesn't have the Blade Surge, not going to happen, and he will be forced back up. Also, lack the mana as well, even if it was off cooldown.
Yeah, and also on top of that, Vladimir had Sanguine Pool off cooldown, so he could have just popped in that, and he would have been fine underneath the tower. But this is going to give Angush an opportunity to just farm a tiny bit more at top lane. Let's have a look at the early indications of how the CS is looking. Irelia at 44, Vladimir 37, so a small gap in favour of Angush at the moment. Bot lane hasn't really got too much love, it's just pretty much been farming frenzy. So which of these two ADs is out on top at the moment? Corki 35, Ezreal 49. Big difference there for 7 minutes 40 through the game. Corki has just gone back though, built up a double Doran's Blade alongside Boots of Speed, identical build again to Chaos, as we saw last game around this stage. So Chaos is definitely getting upper hand here.
I'm just looking at the compositions, and once again, they're very mid-game orientated. It's just like a carbon copy of last game, different champions, but still very strong in that mid-game. So it's still all to play for, because there's pretty much no difference in gold, no difference really in kills apart from that first blood. So yeah, it's just extremely even. You're just waiting for one of the teams to get a little bit ahead. Then again, it's very easy to catch up again because they didn't have an exceptionally snowbally team.
Yeah, a few people asking what this match is for. It's the Elite of Europe semi-final matchup between TSM and Curse.Eu. The winner of this tournament will be decided tonight. $4,000 up for grabs for first place, $2,500 for second place. So a plenty amount of money to be playing for here for these two teams. Curse.Eu currently 1-0 up, so TSM have their work cut out for them, especially as Morgana picked up that first blood. She's now going to be pushing down towards the red buff. Needs to be careful because Odd One is there. We're just going to walk straight past Odd One towards bot lane. There is no ward in the tri-bush. This could be a gank setting off. They can land the Dark Binding, but the minion, the scumbag minion, just blocking the Dark Binding from landing on Kerix. To be fair though, had it even have hit, I'm not too sure that it bounced on top of him.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that one. It just wasn't going to happen. He was too close to his turret, and he was able to back off. So if you take a look at Vlad right now, Vlad versus Irelia is a very interesting matchup, because Irelia should win the match. However, he's actually going to start no, he should be okay. He's actually gone double Doran's shield, which you don't usually see from a lot of top laners, but he needs it to sustain himself and not die.
The ultimate is going to go down. Soul Shackles from Extinct on towards Reginald, and this is what I was saying before. It's going to be very difficult for Reginald to stand toe-to-toe with Morgana right now. He's just falling further behind. The True Shot Barrage does come up there from Chaos, but it's not going to be landing on towards Extinct, who stayed around a couple extra seconds to pick up farm. So, yeah, the woes continue in mid. Now Morgana has 1,400 gold to spend. Needs to be careful playing with fire here, staying around in lane for so long, but she should be fine. I mean, even if Odd One does try and tower dive, she has the black shield. The Dark Binding should be just fine for now. Going to go back towards the Wraiths. Maybe trying to stay around until 1,600 gold for Needlessly Large Rod. I'm not too sure. Only time will tell. But we do have Alistar, Maluno in the tri-bush at bot lane. There is no ward in the tri-bush. There is, however, a ward in the river itself. So they may very well know that he has moved down to this position. And I think he's going to decide, enough's enough. Nothing's really going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and recall.
He could actually have dived that, however, X-Special has got 6 himself, and he actually just poked his head out where there was a ward right next to that ward from Curse. So he was spotted and is going to go ahead and recall. So, in mid, when Ezreal popped that ultimate down, it was almost counterintuitive, because Morgana overextending actually saved her life, whereas going backwards usually is the best thing to do when you're on such low health. Because she stayed around and farmed, she didn't get hit in the face by a True Shot Barrage.
Yeah, true. Definitely true. And still hasn't actually gone back to spawn yet. So, interesting enough, 1,800 gold. Going to be more after this creep wave comes and goes. Tormented Soul goes down. Picks up a lot of those last hits for her. And a couple pings on towards Wraiths. Wraiths are back up once again. There is a ward down there. It's going to be stolen from Reginald. Renegade, I should say. Odd One. With his smite. So, nice work from the mid and jungle from TSM. But they're still well and truly behind, courtesy of Morgana's double kill. 200 gold behind overall, but Morgana is going to get scarier and scarier as this game goes on, especially when she has characters on a team like Irelia. Irelia is known for being an anti-AD kind of carry, anti-AP carry as well. She can jump on with the Blade Surge and also the Equilibrium Strike. It's very difficult to get away from Irelia, especially when you put into consideration that you've got a Morgana and an Alistar with a lot of CC on top of that. It's going to be scary.
It really is, but still, in those team fights, it's still going to be very even. Looking for the ultimate from Janna to see if she can counter-initiate onto Extinct before he picks up his Zhonya's Hourglass, what I expect will be a very early item. But right now, it's still going to be a very even team fight, and I guess that's why both teams really aren't trying to force it out.
Definitely. Both seem more than happy just to continue farming on regardless. Morgana has moved to 2,200 gold. Here comes Molino from the side, but instantly Sanguine Pool coming out from Vladimir. And a little chuckle afterwards. He's actually picked up 2 Doran shields. Fairly interesting stuff from him. And on top of that has the Ionian Boots of Lucidity, which are, of course, the cooldown boots. So, the gank from Molino manages to yield away for that Sanguine Pool, but not much else. And Irelia's going to keep on harassing Dyrus down. Blood tides come out. And Irelia is going to pull herself back.
Yeah, so I was talking to a high-elo sort of Vladimir player called Federico, and he's 2.4k elo, and he was basically saying in the matchup between Irelia and Vladimir, you just have to survive. If you get to the end of laning phase with pretty decent farm, then you've done your job. It's pretty unlikely you're going to get the kill, because generally Irelia will outscale you, at least in lane, because she gets stronger than you in trades. However, if you get the double Doran shield, that will allow you to sustain yourself, and then therefore you get to the end of laning phase, and then you won the lane.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Doran's shield statistics, 120 health, 10 armor, 8 health regen per 5 seconds. Works nicely against an Irelia. Having said that, though, Anguish at the moment has a Hex Drinker, which does very nicely against Vladimir, alongside a Null Magic Mantle. So they're kind of just, I wouldn't say countering each other, but they're just building up for this farming frenzy at top. I don't expect a lot of kills to go down up there. Right now, 0 have gone down at top. It's both been in mid.
Yeah, and it's actually 13, almost 40 minutes of the game, only 2 kills have happened. Obviously onto the side of Curse, and still the game is very even. In fact, the gold is perfectly similar, and still no one going for that Drake. It's just waiting for that Castler to go off, basically.
Oh, we are going to have an all-out engage here from Anguish, but Hemoplague instantly used from Vladimir. Both players kind of teeter around the edge, and you can see just how strong the Hex Drinker is, completely absorbing the Hemoplague damage that came out there, putting the shield up. So Anguish slightly behind on HP, but of course that means it's going to be a stun with the Equilibrium Strike when it comes in. And it definitely will come in. There you go, jumping back on again with Hit and Style. Could be picking up this kill. Also, Vladimir takes some aggro from the tower, but a beautiful Sanguine Pool. Not going to be enough though. I really will flash back onto Vladimir and talk about the curse of the commentator. We're like, there's going to be no kills at top for a while, and then there's a kill.
Yeah. And that's why Vladimir needs those Doran shields. He needs to stay ahead to the point where he can't die. And it's very odd he went for that trade. He must have thought he was stronger, but this is what I was talking about. He needs those Doran shields to not die. And he went for that trade and died. So he just needs to be a bit more careful now and try and go for that Hextech revolver, which looks like he's doing so right now. And obviously the Hextech, or rather the Will of Ancients, will work really well, work wonders on this team, because it works a bit for Ezreal as well. But obviously those two sustained mages, that's exactly what you want. And actually Anguish saying he needs pause.
Yeah, the pause has just came in, so there you go. Not too sure why that was the case, but just going back to that skirmish at top lane, one of the critical parts of it is that Dyrus actually took a couple tower shots there. So that could have definitely turned the tables in Irelia's favour, and obviously she ended up finishing off the kill. Has a recurve bow as well, so more than likely towards Wit's End next, which again, very, very strong item on Irelia. Again, we're not too sure what's going on with Anguish, but overall, Pulse, okay, we're 15 minutes, just after 15 minutes through this game. 18.5k to Curse.Eu, 17.8 to TSM. Who do you think is going to go ahead and take this game, based off how it started?
You know, I still think it's too early to tell. Despite them having a slight advantage, no teamfights have happened. 15 minutes. I think about 17 minutes is the latest first Drake we've ever seen in this tournament so far. So both teams are still very cautious, because despite Curse being ahead, I honestly don't think they are confident enough to straight out go for a team fight with TSM. Because they're really not confident that they'll win it. And especially because, obviously, Morgana does not yet have the Zhonya's, so of course X-Special could do wonders and knock him out of the team fight. So maybe they're just trying to stall it until they know Morgana can cement herself into that team fight with the Zhonya's.
Yeah, interesting enough, needs a point towards Morgana. Needlessly large rod, and has 1,115 gold as well. Quite scary. 200, 139 creep score to Rise's 107. Reggie is definitely behind, no doubt whatsoever. He does have the Tear of the Goddess, the Sork Shoes, and is building towards that Capless the Protector. He has the components of Ruby Crystal and Sapphire Crystal. But make no mistake, he is behind right now, by quite a significant margin. If you have a look at the AD carries, Corki 117 creep score, and Ezreal 134. So kind of a flick around from the mid there, where you actually have TSM ahead. Chaos is out farming Corki. It does have the 2 Doran's Blades alongside a pickaxe and a Vampiric Scepter. Corki with the components for a Phage. And if we have a look at the gold, Corki has just under 1,000 in his back pocket, and Ezreal nearly has 1,500. So kind of a turnaround there. Mid is going against TSM, but bot lane's going for them.
But I don't know how good that is, really. I mean, proc carries do scale well into the mid-game, but obviously the AP carries really peak at that mid-game. AD carries at late-game. So having your mid lane ahead really benefits your team more, in my opinion, because obviously your mid-game affects how the entire game rolls out. If your mid player is losing significantly, then all those objectives surrounding mid are easily taken. Those 3-man invades are going to be more apparent, and of course that's first couple team fights, your AP carry is going to be stronger. So that's more AoE, of course, AD carries a single target, and all that sort of base damage, and that's why you have the AP mid in general, just so that you get, because they scale from levels, essentially, and that's why you put them there. So, yeah, having the AP mid is definitely more valuable at this stage in the game.
It's also important to note that we were talking before about this in Champion Select. We were saying, look, a lot of people like Alistair for his early kind of laning phase in his ganks, but as soon as you get past the sort of 30-40 minute mark, he doesn't necessarily drop off, he just stops being as useful because that ganking phase isn't as important. Look at Mundo though. He might not be the best ganker in the game, but the later the game goes on, the tankier he gets and the more scary he is. He's so difficult to kill if he gets full item built. So again, it's very interesting to have a quick look there, that the later this game goes on, you have to fancy that TSM are going to slowly but surely drag their way back into it.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that one, and it kind of looks like that's what they wanted to do with the comp, with two sustained majors who only really get stronger, and of course with Mundo. Then again, we do have Chaos. What is he building? Actually, it looks like he's not going for Trinity, so this all points towards a late game build for them. And Maluno is restarting his router, okay. And especially, of course, on Janna, a lot of CC, and CC always scales well into late game. And they said just about 5 minutes, max 5 minutes from now.
Alright, well, just to answer your questions, guys, originally Anguish called the timeout, we don't know why, but as you can see right now, Maluno is restarting his router, so there you go, it has just been explained. Maluno's left the game. I think we're going to cut to music break, Bass, are we? Or are we going to stay live? Dead silence.
Like it. Nice.
I guess that means we're going to stay live. Awesome. So, okay. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, guys, and you want to give Champion Base some love, and let's face it, who doesn't? Then you can head on over to their Facebook. It's www.facebook.com/championbase.net. You can win yourself some goodies. We have some CSGO beta keys coming out soon, and we also have a SteelSeries headset on top of that that's going to be given away. You can also follow Chaos TV's Facebook. That's the streaming company that's taking along this game and bringing it to you guys. That's Chaos TV at the end of Facebook, or you can follow Pulse. It's /What's Your Pulse. He's a new caster, so I'm sure you'd like some criticism, some feedback, Pulse, and how to improve.
Yep.
If people see fit, or of course praise as well. If you want to shower him with goodies, then feel free. And the same can be said for myself. If you want to follow myself, it's /Metas TV at the end of Facebook. So that's just a quick heads up. I'll probably be answering some questions while we're waiting here, so if you have any, feel free to post them in chat and I'll have a quick look. Because I think we said pretty much everything there is to say about this game. We're only 15 minutes through, so we can't really get in-depth analysis on team fights or anything like that, because they simply haven't happened. It's been skirmishes. Morgana's picked up 2 kills in mid, and the other one was Irelia, where Dyrus, I don't want to say he made a huge mistake, but taking those tower shots was definitely bad for him. Let's just put it that way. And he ended up dying from Irelia. So let me have a quick look into chat. I'm expecting some troll questions here, actually. Maybe I shouldn't have said this.
I've shot yourself in the foot there, Vince.
I very well may have done so. Having some predictions, actually, which is quite interesting. Jara UK thinks that mid-game, Curse will have this. They look so much stronger with their team composition. So, Pulse, why don't you go ahead and explain if you agree or disagree with that statement?
I agree with it, because they do have the AP. There's some weird things happening in chat right now, weird banter. Anyway, Extinct will lock itself down in that team fight, and basically TSM's majors scale into late game harder, but they need farm first. Yes, they're good at mid game because they're AP carries, but in the same way, Morgana is more of a burst carry. They're sustained majors. They peak more towards the later mid game and late game, whereas Morgana is super strong right now. So of course, yeah, they probably will win these sort of early engages, especially if Irelia is going to be super strong, but she also does get strong into the late game. Corki, proc carry, looking to build that Trinity Force, again, more mid game orientated, and especially when you have Ezreal on Chaos, who will be taking that pickaxe. Looks like he might be going towards that Infinity Edge. He's looking for the late game. So yeah, I definitely agree with that statement.
Next question. I apologize, dude. I didn't quite catch your name because the chat's going down so quickly. But the question was, with the new remakes to Twitch and Evelyn coming about, do you think, Pulse, they're going to become viable in competitive play? Or do you think they're still going to be obscure champions?
Well, if you play it like how my champion Spotlight showcases it, but not sure
Evelyn,
about that
the
one.
moving ward.
Yeah. Got a lot of stick for that one. Anyway, yeah, I'm looking at Evan's Champion Spotlight, but in all the kills, Freak was killing Twitch, who is probably the weakest and squishiest champion in the game. I'm not sure about his stats increase, but honestly, I'm not really sure, because she looks really good, she's got the sustain, the ultimate will give her a shield. How competitive she'll be, I'm not sure, only time will tell. With these new champions, you always have to give it about 2 weeks incubation period for the pros to kind of play around with it and for that to filter through the rest of the community. So I can't really tell you at this point, but Twitch, I'm not really sure. I don't think the remakes are really going to put him in competitive play. I don't think it's been enough of a buff. They haven't reworked his kit enough, I think. And I know Airborne Game was like the only team who really put out Twitch as an AD carry, and that didn't really go well anyway. So yeah, I'm not sure about it. I'll have to actually just wait and see how it turns out. But I definitely like the remake, and it looks really cool.
Yeah, I'm just being informed at the moment. Needed to confirm. Okay, so guys, if you've liked the Facebook for ChampionBase.net, there is a reward coming in for you. We are going to be posting the CSGO beta key right now, so get liking. It's facebook.com/championbase.net. Go ahead right now, give them some love, and you could be taking home a CS beta key. Go, go, go. He's putting it up right now, I think. Literally now. So, while that's happening, you've answered the question about the Evelyn and Twitch. Let's have a quick look again. Really? I can't even speak English. What is this? Let's have a quick look at the chat.
It's hilarious because we're British and we can't even
I
speak
know,
our mother
right?
language.
Our mother language is English and we can't speak it. Crazy.
Virtual high five.
Alright. So, just been asked, what sort of predictions in the final today? Which teams will face each other? Well, we've already got the answer to one of those questions. It's going to be Mouse. They beat Moscow 5 in the previous game. And I guess the only question, therefore, for me to ask you, Pulse, is who do you think is going to win this best of 3?
Well, once again, Curse.Eu are the underdogs, and the underdogs won the last game, so I would love it if both underdogs actually took the victory. And they're looking in a good position to do so. They could take this 2-0. If TSM pick it up, of course it's going to go for the third game. But I want to hand it to Curse at the moment, because I just like how they've played all the way through the game. And this banter in chat is just getting weirder and weirder.
It's always the case on Owned and Twitch chat, man. It's always a bit crazy. But yeah, apparently it's done, guys. So congratulations if you were the recipient of the CSGO beta key. If not, commiserations. But we do have another couple coming up later, and we also have a Siberia headset to give away too. So get liking, and you'll be the first to know when the key goes up. Again, that's facebook.com/championbase.net. Or I think we may be putting some keys later on Chaos TV's Facebook. That's facebook.com/Chaos TV. I'm seeing a lot of typing in this game, trying to figure out what's going on. They said 5 minutes. That was like 10 minutes ago. So this is quite a long router restart. I'm fearing the worst from Luno here, to be honest.
Well, we've got 18 minutes left, so here we go.
Okay, on to the next question. You mentioned before that your music taste differed greatly from the music taste put on the stream. I'm having difficulty actually reading this question. Apologies, dude. So basically, I think what he's asking is, what's our music taste? So Pulse, take it away first. What music do you like?
Alright, okay. So I like psychedelic trance, and I don't know how many of you even know what... Yeah, I know. Most people don't even know what the genre is. Yeah. But... Oh, high fives, Bass.
Oh, badass bass coming in out of nowhere. I know what it is. Check me out.
Okay, name me a band.
Psychedelic trance. My god, that blows my mind.
Gotcha. Okay, so one of my favorites is Infected Mushroom. So, if you want, yes, Goa, yes, someone knows what it is. It's another genre of music, but it's like people are understanding. But if you want to go ahead and try and look at Infected Mushroom, they've got some nice tracks. I like it. What's your taste in music, Vince? Because you're cringing right now, and
I'm face palming, man. I'm double face palming. I'm face desking, in fact. Rock and music, mainly old rock and music. So it couldn't be any different, I guess, to the stuff you guys like.
Oh,
I'm not going there.
That conversation.
I like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, bands like that. Some of the, well, I wouldn't say more recent stuff from the 80s and 90s, but I'm not a big fan of dance music, I'll be honest. I will be honest there, and I'll probably get a lot of hatred for that. But what can you do?
Oh, people know what Infected Mushroom is, man. Yes. Becoming insane. Yes. I love this community. Thank you, guys. Made my day. No, I know. Cheers, Baz. Thank God we can't hear you.
Okay, next question. Get it rolling, guys. We've got another 16 minutes to get through here of pause. So the next question that comes up, if it's serious and I can actually read it out, I will go ahead and try and answer, or if it's directed at Pulse, I'm sure he will. So let's see. Do you have any questions, Bass? Keep them clean, if possible.
Oh man.
If possible. Yeah, do you have any questions?
Oh man.
If possible.
Oh, it's boring, he said no.
Oh man.
Question, can I ask a
it's
question?
boring,
Of
so no.
course you can, dude. You kind of already did, but please elaborate and ask which question you'd like to ask. I can't really answer that question in depth, to be
You
fair.
only get one question, so yeah, that's your question answered. The answer was yes. You can ask a question, but not anymore.
Okay, do you think that Mordekaiser will ever be played in mid to high level games? That's asked from Uncle Gus 96. Any thoughts, Pulse? Mordekaiser?
Mordekaiser is always going to be strong, but it's all about his early game. If he gets shut down levels 1 to 3, he's going to lose, and he won't transition well into late game basically. But if you let him snowball, if he gets past that laning phase in levels 1 to 6, and you don't shut him down, he's going to become unkillable, and it's just impossible to shut him down. Especially his ultimate is always going to be strong when he picks off the AD carry, and we could be going back into the game any second now, in fact.
Are you homosexual, Vince? That's a bit personal. I'm not, but thanks for asking, dude. I appreciate you're interested. Maybe another time. But yeah, it's unpaused, so you're going to get into this game. So yeah, Maluno has finally reconnected. Hopefully no more issues there with the internet or routing. So I am a tiny bit behind courtesy of that pause. I'm just going to quickly fast forward. There we go. I'm back live once again.
Got to do the same. There we go.
So, if you have just joined us, which is very possible with the delay that we just had, and you hadn't caught the previous part, this is the Elite of Europe, TSM against Curse.Eu. This is game number 2. Curse.Eu took the first game, and looking very strong in game number 2 on top of that. So, let's see how it plays out. Irelia against Dyrus at top. Of course, Irelia's being played from Ambush. And the bot lane has had pretty much no action, actually. I don't even think they've been harassing each other a great deal.
No, I think it's just gentleman's agreement. I'm just gonna go ahead and farm here. But this is a very passive game, and honestly, because they've not been playing for the better part of 20 minutes, then they're gonna be a bit off. It's just like they've just jumped into a game which pretty much should be the start of a game, and it's really confusing to jump back into something that's in its adolescence.
For sure, we're going to have an ultimate there from from Chaos going through. Not too much to write home about though. In the meantime, Mundo did come up towards top lane, but it's going to go back towards spawn once again. So look how much gold he has to spend. Well, he got instantly jumps out at me. Ezreal has 2,000 gold. More, I think he called him Mordekaiser. Mundo 1,330 is going to finish off the Mercury Treads. Already has the Heart of Gold on top of that, and is going to add a Ruby Crystal to his inventory. There could be a gank at top lane. Nope, Alistair's going to recall, and there was a ward in Tribush regardless. Oracles has been picked up from Maluno. So Maluno has Oracles, so does Odd One. Those wards are not going to be safe. Angus jumping on towards Dyrus is going to pop off the Ignite, and lots of those Transcendent Blades do enough to push him back, but not to pick up the kill. And that's going to be all she wrote for Dyrus at top lane just for now. Going to go back to spawn, 780 or thereabout gold to spend, and he's going to go ahead and finish off his Hextech Revolver.
Yeah, not too much happening at the moment. It's literally just a farm fest, and I'm trying to think who scales better off farm. And I've got to give it to TSM right now, because they scale into the late game really well. Honestly, when that comment came before that Curse have the better mid game, I definitely agree with it, to the point where they should be trying to force fights. And I do think they should be as scared right now, because I definitely feel that they probably are ahead, but if they leave it till late game, they definitely won't be.
Yeah, true. And it's going to be interesting if Curse can make the most of that strength, or if it's going to slip through their hands, because at the moment Ezreal is having a really happy time at bot lane, 166 creep score, and has a lot of gold to play with when he goes back. Corki too, has to be said that Slapper also has lots of gold, 2,000 to spend, so it's going to be quite interesting. Both AD carries are going to go back to spawn, buy up lots of items, and neither of them are really going to be ahead. We're going to have Clarissa now putting down some aggravation on towards Chaos. Also the exhaust comes out, lots of burst damage from Slapper, looking to focus onto X Special instead, and the reason for that sudden huge amounts of aggression is because the rest of Curse.Eu are going to be going for that Drake. So smart play from Clarissa, and also Slapper pushing back the bot lane, allowing their team to pick up the Drake, and is so close this game so far, Pulse, that these kind of plays can make a pretty big difference. Slepper could be going down though, lots of damage from X Special, and also Kex. Meantime, Irelia will be taking out Mundo in around mid. That's all that's going to go down. So 4-0 now to Curse.Eu.
They did take a turret top, however, from Dyrus. However, excuse me, that's exactly what we need right now. We need Curse need. I'm not part of Curse. Wow, that break is even
in before
hit us.
biased. People are going to be calling me biased now, dude.
I know.
You're part of Curse.
Oh man, that's gonna be recorded and like haunting me for the rest of my life. Anyway, back onto the game. Yeah, they needed to push that advantage, and they did. They went for Drake, and then they forced the fight, and they got a kill for it as well. They did come out ahead, even though they had the map control top, though. And I really probably will be able to push that one back pretty easily. She's still above or ahead of Vladimir at the moment. And actually, Federico was talking to me during the break just then, and saying, yep, that is the advice I gave. But he said it's not actually doing Darius any good, so I'm not sure. But, yeah. It's very interesting to see what will happen next. Honestly, I think they need to carry on pushing the advantage.
Well, Dyrus was taking a lot of damage, popped off the Hemo Plague. We could have a tower dive here. The Ignite comes out from Dyrus, but look at the backside. Here comes Extinct. He landed a Dark Binding. It's going to be over for Dyrus. Flashes in, will land a Dark Binding, and look at the damage that's put down. Morgana already has a Zhonya's Hourglass. When those team fights come around, Extinct is going to be the kind of player you want to just turn and run crying from.
Yeah, and Mundo looking to try and defend this turret. I'm not sure if he can though. No, he's just going to throw a file out. But this is what I was literally just saying. I really probably will be able to push this out very, very quickly. And there it is, 1-for-1 turrets and the Drake as well before that. So they are definitely ahead.
Indeed, here we go. Good more action in the mid. Maluno's taking a lot of damage. Will be popping off the ultimate, but so much damage being put out from Corki and Clarissa. Onto Rise, picking up the kill, 6-for-0 already. And I'm kind of a bit speechless here. TSM are just getting pummeled pretty much all over the map.
Yeah, their best chance right now is to wait it out and just stall the game as long as possible. And Curse aren't punishing them massively at the moment. I mean, they are 6 kills ahead to 0. They're about 3k ahead, but they're not completely pummeling them to the point where they can't come back. If they start taking objectives like the turrets and the Drakes and the Barons, then maybe they're too far behind. But at the moment, TSM still have a good chance to just stall. They just damage control at this point.
Appears to be the case. They're just trying to hold on at the moment. The good news to them is that Chaos is doing a nice job at bot lane, but the bad news is that Morgana is getting fairly farmed up and fed. Irelia is following suit. She's got a Wit's End, a Hex Drinker, a Pickaxe as well. So looking very, very scary. And Morgana has just gone back to spawn and picked up another needlessly large rod. So at this stage of the game, 292 ability power for Morgana. Those Dark Bindings, that Soul Shackle is really, really going to hurt.
Wow, yeah, that is pretty brutal. And that's why they need to push their advantage. If they leave it to the late game, TSM's going to be back in it. But for now, they have the upper hand, for sure. So they just need to try and mobilize and get a pick and then punish. Exactly how M5 and Acer do it.
Well, let's have a quick look towards mid. This has definitely been the slowest game that we've casted so far in Elite of Europe by quite some margin. But it's been interesting. It really has been interesting for these two teams because you're seeing how the mental process is going around, coming around the sides of the jungle. Both junglers being very, very active, but not really picking up a lot of kills. 0 if you take into account Odd One. Not a single kill has gone down from TSM thus far. And Morgana has been involved in 4 of Curse.EU's kills. So that's going to be reflected in the item build. More of Mormoltius has been finished off on Irelia after just 22 minutes. That's, again, it's just really, really scary, Pulse.
It really is. It's just, if they go for a team fight right now, they'll right out win. I'm pretty sure of it. So it's just a question of how fast are they going to go for that initiate? Are they going to group up? Are they going to push a tower, maybe 4-man gank bottom? Just waiting for it to happen right now. But of course, they can't leave it too late. Right now, just Corki, yeah, again, they're scaling really hard into that mid-game, and right now it is mid-game. Of course, they waited and they have the Zhonya's Hourglass on Morgana. This is what we talked about before. They can't lock her down right now with X Special's ultimate unless it's perfectly timed. And then again, you've got Black Shield. It's just impossible.
I can't help but feel there is going to be an explosion of action when Drake next respawns. Let me have a quick check and see when Drake went down. It was slain at 18 minutes 38, so it's going to be due up in the next minute or two. And we're going to have lots of burst damage now at bot lane from Slepper and Clarissa. The True Shot Barrage comes out though from Ezreal, going to be giving chase onto Clarissa. And here comes Odd One, did pop his ultimate. Sadism was used for the movement speed, trying to get in close contention to pick up this kill. But it's not going to go down. And in amongst all that, the mid and also jungler from Curse.Eu now going to come towards bottom lane. Dyrus is in a really sticky situation. Muno coming in with headbutt pulverizer combination. Dyrus is going to be going down. There is a dark binding. And Morgana moves on the 4-0 scoreline. This is looking precarious at best for TSM.
Yeah, and that was it. They just forced a kill, they got the pick, and now they're going to punish. They're pushing that tower, and they have Ryze coming in from the side, realizes he can't go straight up against them. What is he trying to do right here? Alright, they're going to go back. Honestly, I think they could have carried on pushing. Blossom Lane also went down. Clarissa and Slepper picking that one up. And they might be mobilizing for Drake fairly soon because it will be spawning in the near future. And Blue has actually spawned, and they're just being careful, making sure they're not going to invade this one.
I honestly think that Maluno, for me, has been one of the pick of the tournaments as far as players go. It's been amazing. He's been everywhere. His ganking is always right place, right time. He's picked up 5 assists. Now going to be going on towards Drake. So I said before, I was expecting explosive action on Drake. Of course, that's not going to happen because Dyrus died. That allowed Curse.Eu to all push down together. And Morgana doesn't even need to take part in this fight. She's just going to go ahead and farm mid. In the meantime, we're going to be pushing down towards Chaos. He has been caught out. The flash comes in, being forced to push back to the enemy lines here. Behind the enemy towers. And Anguish alongside Slepper will be chasing him. And Slepper picks up the kill. Dragon did half reset before, but they will finally pick that one up. So it's Dragon and a kill for Curse.Eu, and they're starting to shift through the gears. 36 points UK gold advantage to 31.5k. Big lead.
Yeah, it's really looking bad for TSM because, as we were saying, if they can wait it out until late game, they might be good to go. But as it is, they're just being pushed down too hard. And if they keep losing these objectives, it was a good call not to fight it, basically, because if they'd fought it, that could have been a near ace for them. Because honestly, Curse are that far ahead. They're 5k ahead, but their composition is stronger right now. So honestly, they just need to keep stalling. I keep saying this, but they just have to, and there's damage control, and they need to stop getting picked. I mean, that kill at bottom wasn't really good at all, especially on top of that Drake, which already went down, which they knew they couldn't contest.
The thing is, I understand what you mean about stalling, but if you have a look at Curse.EU's lineup here, they have characters that can tower dive very, very easily. Alistar can jump in with a pulverized headbutt combination alongside his ultimate, which of course is Unbreakable Will. On top of that, you've got Morgana with an Hourglass. We do have a little skirmish kicking off again. Slapper and Clarissa were caught out of position. The Hemoplague went down from Vladimir, doing a lot of damage, but here goes Morgana. She has the Hourglass as well, being pushed against the wall, courtesy of Monsoon, and the absolute zero from Nunu. Burst damage supreme. You do have a True Shot Barrage coming in from Ezreal. Does manage to pick up a kill alongside Ryze onto Morgana as a first death on Extinct in this matchup. So a 1-1 exchange after everything. Lots of players flashing up red on dangerously low health. And actually, that's going to come good for TSM because a lot of Curse.EU are going to have to recall, and they're going to leave this mid tower open to be taken. They could actually pick up the second mid tower as well.
That was a good engage, basically. They got a pick, and they caught them out of position, and then they followed up on it. So, yeah, that was pretty good. They just picked up 2 towers after that 1-for-1 exchange, so pulling themselves back into it, they're not completely out of it. And actually that, because I feel that Curse haven't been punishing them as hard as they could have with that team comp, I feel that TSM are getting to the point where they are getting stronger and coming back into this one.
What I love about that play there from X Special is he knew that Morgana was coming in with the Soul Shackle, so instantly was like, okay, Morgana's getting low, I'll push her away. Kind of preemptively guessing that Extinct was about to use his Hourglass, so by doing so, Extinct got pushed away and then stopped his own maneuverability and mobility by popping Hourglass, and in turn didn't stun anybody apart from, I think it was literally just X Special that got stunned off Soul Shackles. So it was really good play there from the support of Janna, and that's why people rate Janna so highly. She's got great maneuverability, she can push back the team, she can place them in wherever you want and really try and expose them for their weaknesses. In the meantime, Curse going to be pushing mid. Here comes Dyrus from the side, going to be popping down. Hemoplague, he's going down very, very quickly though. Sanguine Pool has been popped, just delaying the inevitable there, as Morgana will go onto him, going into the second kill. Ryze returns fire on towards Morgana, and again, interestingly enough, TSM have the advantage on health here. You're going to have to Flash and Howling Gale used from X Special. Reggie is chasing afterwards, but Clarissa and Maluno, both on dangerously low HP, cannot get caught out of position. You've got Mundo on full, Reggie on 3/4, and we have another pause.
Okay. No idea what this one's about. No one has called anything. This time from TSM, bringing out the pause from X Special.
Well, I haven't seen anything to indicate why the pause came about. No explanation or anything. Internet problems. Internet problems. X Special is fat like Alistair. That's an understandable reason to pause. We get you now. No problems.
Right.
So, now that we've had more team fights, more action, and the game is starting to kind of evolve into mid to late game, what are your thoughts here, Pulse? I mean, you said before TSM was starting to gather some momentum, they're starting to get stronger and able to stand toe-to-toe with Curse.Eu, but do you think they can bring themselves back enough to actually regain the lead and take this game?
It's going to take some plays, but they're not too far behind on gold. I don't know. I really don't know, because they just need to get the plays, but I'm not sure if they can do so against Curse, who will most likely stop them from doing so, because they've got to be expecting it. And they have to push an advantage now, right when they're strongest. Morgana's getting gibbed at the beginning of both of these team fights, in fact, so they are coming back into it, but slowly.
So it's just a case you think that they need to stall a tiny bit longer?
Yeah, I'm going to go with that one.
Alrighty, so 2-10 is the scoreline. As you can see on your board at the moment, 3 towers have been down from TSM, 4 from Curse.Eu, and the gold advantage has been bridged somewhat, 41.7 to 37.5. It was at one stage about 6k difference, now down to about 3.8k. So there you go, just to give you an idea of how the game is going so far. And I guess we should alt-tab again and answer some more questions, Pulse.
Yes, we should.
And while delay kicks in, just going to plug the Facebook from Champion Base again. They've made all of this possible, guys, so if you like what you see, you want to see more of this action, this Elite of Europe kicking off, please go and show them some love and support over at facebook.com/championbase.net. And now we'll have a quick look at the chat and see if we have any questions that I can answer, because you have to be very careful what we read out. Okay, here's one. Pulse, how long have you been casting?
Not very long. I've been casting Spring Commander before this. That was like a couple of years ago. For League of Legends, I've been casting since the beginning of the year, but this is like my 4th, 5th time casting in front of anyone bigger than 20 people as an audience.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll ask you a question. How are you finding it? The whole casting kind of aspect of League of Legends? Because I don't think casters get asked a great deal about how they feel about things, you know, on a personal level.
I'm liking it. I really am liking it. I just love the atmosphere of just being here, and the audience is great. Everything is just good. I just like the atmosphere.
Alrighty. Well, I hope that answered your question. I guess this is kind of a loaded question here, but somebody asked, why do TSM play so bad? I think we can change that question, Pulse, and we can say, why are they getting beaten in this game?
Yeah, it's difficult to say, because basically they've gone for a composition which scales better into the late game. Then again, they do have double AP. It's difficult to say. It's a bit outplayed, and it's a bit because their comp allows it to be so, quite honestly. And Curse are just playing exceptionally well. Like the first game, that was because they were kind of outplayed because the comps were pretty similar. But in this game, it's more down to they recognise the fact that they might lose the early game, so they're going for a more later game build on that composition. So I get the feeling that if they wait for a bit longer, they could pull themselves back into it. It looks dire at the moment, but you just have to look at the composition and see if that can pull through.
Alrighty, I'm just reading through the chat, guys. So there's a lot of spam. I'm trying to find a question. Somebody asking, can TSM return into the game? I think we kind of answered that before. We both believe they can, but it's going to take a little while longer. They're going to have to kind of, not necessarily turtle in, but they're going to have to play quite passive for the next 5 or so minutes.
Yeah.
Do you think we will see more Xin Zhao in competitive play after this remake that he's receiving?
It looks very interesting. The remake looks very interesting. it's not so much that he knocks everyone away, it's more like a utility factor, in the same way that Lee Sin's got his ultimate, in the same way it's just that displacement like Orianna, like Gragas. So it's all about how he can do it. I kind of expect him to be using on the tanks more than anything, because then he'll be knocking the squishies into his team. So it's a very interesting ultimate, and it's very situational, more positional than anything, a lot like Cassiopeia's ultimate. So that's the only issue I see about it. It's very positional, and sometimes positional ultimates are not always the best.
Okay, a question from Milky Badger. What are your views on GameHoppers.eu and their new lineup? Now, this is definitely going to go towards you, Pulse, because I don't know them a great deal, but you do. So, what are your thoughts overall? We obviously casted them yesterday. TSM beat them to get to this stage of the tournament. Fairly comfortably, I may add, 2-0. But what are your thoughts?
They have a really strong lineup. I mean, they're pretty solid players individually, but honestly, I just get the feeling they haven't had too long together. Like, they're beating everyone up until the top teams. Like, in every single tournament they enter, they're always in to the top. Like, usually the finals, or at least the semi-finals, and then they get beaten by some of the greatest. So honestly, give them a bit more time, and I think they'll be among them. I really do.
Yeah, I think they're a really young team, actually, if you compare them to a team, for example, like TSM. Let's just throw that one out there. TSM obviously used to have Rain Man, and it's kind of changed, I guess, in that sense, but four of their core players have been together for an awfully long time. So you have to say that TSM, compared to Game Hoppers, have been around for a much longer period of time. I think with a lot more experience, a lot more practice together, Game Hoppers can be contending with the top 5 or so in Europe. That's my honest opinion. Individually, they're very good players. But we have just resumed into the game here, and some farm is going down. Again, not too sure what happened. I think they had some vent problems. Yeah, just read down. They had some vent problems, Skype problems in the gaming house, so they had to rectify them before going live again.
Yeah.
So, Baron.
Baron, looking at it at the moment, and Curse, 29 minutes into the game, I'm not actually getting caught here. No, it should be okay. I get the feeling they should force it. I mean, Ezreal's near bottom as well. It looking like the next fight is going to be around Baron, and I think it's more even right now because it is later into the game. TSM are starting to scale quite well into it.
Yeah, it looks like Curse.Eu may very well be trying to force something out. Irelia is going to go into Rise, though. You're going to have a skirmish kicking off. Extinct is going to be popping off the ultimate, just stunning onto Dyrus, I should say, on Vladimir. The Hourglass has been popped from Extinct. Going to save his life only for a couple seconds. Oh, Hemoplay pops off straight afterwards. Corki onto Janna, and Odd One, as tanky as he is, had 4 players breathing down his neck, taking turns battering over the head. And that's a 3-for-1 exchange with Dyrus having to recall. And that should be Baron taken very comfortably from Curse.Eu, unless Ezreal can pull something out of his hat.
He doesn't have his ultimate though, so it's not looking good, and they have wards around that area. So they got the pick onto Reginald, and then even though Xpecial did a great job of zoning him for a long time, even though it cost him his life, they still turned around and just destroyed them. And they're just so strong right now, and now Ezreal's going to get caught and instantly bursted down. And there's the Baron as well, 4 kills, and the Baron for 1 death.
I don't want to knock on Chaos, because he's an absolutely magnificent AD carry, but I'm a bit confused as to why he would try and contend Baron there. As you say, his ultimate was down. So in turn, he's given Baron away, which obviously was going to happen regardless, but also a kill. Dyrus has been caught, taking a lot of damage, but I would have liked to have seen maybe Chaos go elsewhere and try and farm a lane or something instead. Because it was fairly inevitable that he was going to die in that position.
It makes sense for a lot of AD carries in that situation to go ahead and try and contest it, try and harass even in that situation, but that particular situation was not good because no one was really on low health. There was no one he could kind of bully and harass to the point where they'd have to either escape or die to Baron. They were all pretty much on full health, and they were regenerating pretty damn quickly as well because they do have pretty strong sustain. Like Australia's on a couple of people, and they have the Bloodthirster on Corki. So it wasn't really going to happen, and it didn't make a lot of sense. As you said, it was just very weird as a move.
Yeah, I can't help but feel that the chances on stealing Baron there were like at best 1%, probably not even that high. So maybe just go and farm a lane. But hey, Chaos is an exceptionally good player. Either way, Dragon is going to be taken very comfortably there from Curse.Eu. True Shot Barrage comes in from Ezreal. Maybe for Vision. Hopefully going to Steel Dragon, but not going to be happening on this occasion. And with Baron, will we see a carbon copy of last game, where Curse.Eu finished it up very quickly afterwards. Moscow, and we call the Moscow 5 again. TSM caught them in a position for a couple seconds, which was looking good, but then Curse.Eu, they were so far ahead that they just completely bursted down TSM. It looks like this time they've learned from their mistake, and they're just going to try and turtle in and wait for Baron to run out.
Is it me, or was this the same situation as last game where they were at bottom as well?
It's identical, pretty much.
Just waiting for this engage to happen, and this time they're going to have Irelia split pushing, and top is not actually pushing in their favour, but they are just sweeping the jungle, getting every advantage they can. They do have Baron, and it looks like they're just going to try and go for the jungler, push them as hard as they can, force them into their base, try and get something done.
Irelia is going to go deep on the tower against Iris. Nice harassment. And in the meantime, the rest of his team will be trying to push this bot lane. Now going to maybe push together. Dyrus is fairly weak on HP. Slapper's going to be slapping down that tower, but the creep wave has run out, so they're going to have to move back again. In the meantime, the creep wave at bot lane has been pushing nicely, so it's just a case again of split pushing with Baron. You are way ahead, especially in Curse.Eu shoes right now. We're going to have an engage coming in from Maluno, popping the Shrelias, and also Pulverize. Hemoplague landing on a plethora of players alongside a True Shot Barrage coming in. Irelia is going to be going down. Nice play from TSM. Could be picking up a hatful of kills. Double kill for Chaos. This is what I was talking about before. He got nice farm at bot lane, so he can still output a lot of damage here. It's a 2-for-0 exchange. Maluno's been hit from the Howling Gale. Will they be following up here with the third kill? A flash through the wall from Chaos, courtesy of the Arcane Shift. Also, the Prison did come in. And Ezreal finishes off his third kill, so that was a 3-for-0 exchange. Curse had Baron, and maybe that's the beginning of an epic comeback for TSM. Maybe the Americans can still pull this one back.
That was an odd engage by Maluno. As soon as he did it, he realised that was bad and tried to back off, but he was already committed, and he committed his team, and that was the main thing. And that was a big issue. So they went in for the engage underneath that inhibitor turret, and then they just got destroyed. Anguish got cut off from the rest of the team, focusing Dyrus, who immediately popped the pool, and then they were left with no target. And because they were all focusing Anguish, they were too far away for them to pick up a new target. So they waited for the Sanguine pull. That was 2 seconds of basically Curse doing nothing, and then it was just picked up again, and then TSM followed through.
I think that was the first mistake Maluno's made in the entire game, and in the entire last game as well. I'm not too sure about the engage. Shrelius was popped. He rushes in, pulverizes, and you can see as soon as he pulverized, he turned around and ran away. I think he realized, oh, this was a mistake. I should not have done this. And, well, there you go. They lost 3 players for it. So, TSM have a lifeline now. It is fairly small. Curse.Eu are still well and truly ahead. But it's not as one-sided as it was looking 2 minutes ago. Also, importantly, 3 players now do not have Baron, which is, again, is good news for TSM. In fact, the entirety of the team doesn't have Baron. It's run out. But even still, killing players while they have Baron is normally quite a nice psychological advantage. You're like, oh, we can actually kill them here, even with Baron buff. So here comes Curse.Eu once again. They do have fairly resounding map control, though. I'm going to be pushing the top tower. Here we go, going down very, very quickly. And I think, really, at the moment, TSM are just hoping for a similar engage to the last one.
Yeah, that's what they need. Just need to wait for mistakes. But I think after that, Curse really aren't going to make another one. Had there been an ace, that could have been a lot of turrets and a lot of punish. But as it is, that's it. I don't think they're going to do it again, and just going to wait until they can get a pick. Anger's almost getting caught right there by a snare from Rise.
Yeah, I mean, the only problem that I can foresee right now for TSM is only Chaos is putting in any important AD damage. Everybody else, I mean, you got Vladimir, you got Rise, are both AP based. So if you just get magic resist right now, you're already negating a lot of that damage. You've got Wit's End, Mercury Treads, more of Malmortius and Irelia. You've also got the Mercury Treads on Nunu, who's a support. Doesn't really matter a great deal if he dies, of course. Aegis of the Legion and Negatron Cloak on Alistar. And you've also got a Negatron Cloak alongside the Aegis of the Legion on Morgana, so they've got quite a lot of magic resist coming up. It's going to take a lot to punch through that.
Yeah, it really is. It's just... it's difficult for them. They can keep on turtling, and they can get to late game where they might be stronger, but at the moment, Curse have such a strong advantage that they can scale harder, and it's going to take even longer for them to fall behind TSM's composition, which might be like 2 hours into the game.
We're going to have somewhat of an engage from both teams. Chaos will be firing into Extinct, puts the Black Shield up instantly. Lots of poke damage, and here we go. We're going to have an engage. Angus jumping in with the Blade Surge and that Equilibrium Strike. Beautiful True Shot barrage used from Ezreal, going right down the heart of the opposition. Picks up the kill, but it's a 2-for-1 exchange thus far. Corki and Morgana both pick up one. Irelia going to go to the rise. 3 for 2. Ezreal picks up his double. You're going to have a double kill also on the side of Curse.Eu, and that's going to be the ace. 5 for 2 exchange, and that's pretty much going to be the GG surely. Ezreal down for 55 seconds, Vladimir for 50. At least 2 inhibs going to fall from that team fight.
Yeah, it's just a question of how much damage are they going to do. Can they actually finish here? I'm not quite certain, but as you said, at least 2 inhibitors I'm expecting right here with all that damage coming out from Curse right now. That was a great team fight for them. And immediately, Angus diving straight onto Rise, blocked out a lot of that damage, a lot of that sustained damage, and it looks like they are going for the Nexus turrets right now.
It was either between, do we get 2 inhibs, or do we just go and finish the game? And it looks like they're going to finish the game here, which is completely the right decision to go for. Just Janna has respawned. Here comes Mundo as well, and they are going to have more than enough time to finish this one off nicely. So, TSM lose 2-0 to Curse.Eu.
GG, well played from both teams. Good sportsmanship, and it's always nice to see in this level of play. Great game by both teams, and just Curse taking away the victory.
Wow. I'm just going to say it right now, I was expecting Moscow 5 TSM final. On both counts, the underdog, in my opinion, has came through. It's awesome to watch.
Yeah, both underdogs came through. That was incredible. What an amazing day. What an amazing tournament.
Yeah, so it's going to be Mouse Sports facing off against Curse.EU in the grand final, and in the consolation final, TSM against Moscow 5. Both matches should be real crackers. Looking forward to casting them. Next game that's due to be casted, I think, is the consolation finals. I'm not sure on the time. As soon as we find out, we will, of course, give you an update and let you know. But in the meantime, why not head on over to facebook.com/championbase.net. Give them some love, give them some feedback on how the tournament's gone in your opinion, and you could also win yourself some CSGO beta keys, and on top of that, a V2 headset from Siberia. Awesome, awesome stuff. On top of that, you can go to chaostv.eu/prize draw. Follow on with the notes on how you can actually get yourself in contention to win some goodies, and you can also win stuff there. So plenty of awesome stuff for you to check out while we're waiting for this next game to start. But until then, we're going to cut back to a quick music commercial break. And when you rejoin us, it'll be the consolation finals, more than likely. The TSM facing off against Moscow 5.
I'm reaching out, 'cause I cannot fight this feeling anymore.